Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Pamela Gerrand, and this is day 2 of the 10 Days of Lightness. So, today we are Saturday, April 11th, 2020. Breathing into this space, welcoming people in to join us for this space of sanctuary that we are creating together, co-creating together. So take a moment to rest, fully arrive into this space. This 10 Days of Lightness is an invitation to create a space of sanctuary for yourself, a space of deep peace, calm, resilience, to access and amplify your inner radiance. Breathing into this space and time we call now, letting go of anything that is on your to-do list today, only to dwell in the fullness of your being. I welcome you. Today's theme is flow and flexibility. And we are going to be activating and accessing this flow and flexibility through our breath and through sound. And I would like to begin today by inviting in what I'm wanting to do with this 10-day series is to introduce you to many of the beautiful teachers and mentors and wise ones who have guided me on my path and who I turn to. And one of these people is Sandra Walter. And right now, Sandra's guidance for us is translating her message this weekend. Although the external may seem tenuous or chaotic, I urge you to feel into what is happening in your personal journey. Note what is yours and what is collective anxieties. If you are able, take a few days away for sacred ceremony, personal insight, and holding the peaceful balance for all concerned. Ignite those freedom codes with the biggest, most expansive dreams of self-expression and freedom you can imagine. Light ground them into these realities with art, music, poetry, and creations that raise the heart and mind to new earth level. Meditate in 0-point stillness often. Let the elixirs of your higher self flow, uninhibited. I'm going to repeat that last line. Meditate in 0-point stillness often. Let the elixirs of your higher self flow, uninhibited. So we are in a time of great paradox right now. We have so much time and space, and yet we have been drawn back from many of our regular routines and activities in ways that perhaps we've engaged with others. And so there is an offering for us to come home to ourselves, to invite a deeper sense of play and creativity and pleasure and sensuality. And so today, focusing on flow, flexibility, and freedom, we're going to be focusing today on the lower 2 chakras. Yesterday, We talked about the root chakra and allowing, in a time of drought, allowing our roots to go deeper, deeper and wider, to navigate this time that is such a still point, that in some ways feels so much like a drought in our world, as in the dry land of the mind can be filled with so much uncertainty, overwhelm, discomfort. So as we come home to ourselves, it's so important that we find a place that we can dwell in our own dwelling, where we feel this beauty and safety and comfort. And every day of our 10 Days of Lightness, at 11:11, I'm going to begin with an anchoring prayer for us. And I want to begin by saying thank you so much to everyone that was on the call yesterday. And I'm just getting used to doing this on my iPad as opposed to upstairs at my computer or on my phone. And everything's an experiment right now, isn't it? So hello, Bob and Nick, Mary Louise, I'm seeing Graham pop on. I am inviting you all into this magical space of communion and union with the higher self. This invitation today by Sandra Walter, if anybody wants to visit her website, it's www.sandrawalter.com. And her invitation at this time is to really pull back from any outward influences or narratives or messaging that activate any kind of dissonance, discord, distress. And I will say that, it's fine for us to tap into the news and to see what is going on in the outer world. And at the same time, it can be so overwhelming to be constantly flooded with the narrative of what I call the stress conferences. So come back home to that place within yourself, as my friend Sandra Walter that I began this call with, she says to take a few days away this weekend if you can, to create a sanctuary for yourself, to create sacred space, to play, to dive into your creativity, to be in nature, to find ways to reconnect to that playful inner child that she says, meditate in 0 point stillness often and let the elixirs of your higher self flow uninhibited. So yesterday we talked about connecting these deep roots of radiance and using the wisdom of the trees, that when there is a drought, trees naturally conserve energy, water, nutrition, and their roots go deeper and intuitively navigate through the dark earth. The roots go deeper, they go wider, they descend to find the groundwater. So in so many ways right now, we are these beings, we are this tree of life. And with everything being different right now, and all of our usual touch points of, our daily round and the people and the contacts we usually have removed from us, it can feel so unsettling and uncertain. And we are being asked, just like a tree is in a time of drought, to allow our roots to go deeper. So today, thank you for joining me, coming into this space where we will explore how it is to come home to ourselves when perhaps we're not used to this experience of meditating or coming home. And yesterday, I offered an invitation and suggestion that if you're new to meditation, how I began in my meditation journey was memorizing the simple prayer, the beautiful prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. And so that's on my timeline. I'm sure many people are familiar with it, but it is an incredibly potent and powerful gateway to moving beyond duality into unity consciousness. So if you've got time now, which it seems most of us do, the opportunity to whatever it calls to you, it might be the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, it may be some other sacred text, it may be just a really simple mantra that you tune into for yourself, that maybe I I am whole, I am well, I am safe, I am protected. And repeat that over and over, just allowing it to drop into your being, this mantra, this elixir, as my friend Sandra Walter speaks to, allowing ourselves to parent our thoughts well. This is so important at this time. And 11:11. Okay, so I want to begin our time today with a change me prayer. I'm introducing you to all of my favorite friends, spiritual teachers, authors, and I will be creating a page on my website. Right now I'm just putting it on my timeline, and I'm calling it Resources of Resilience. So this book, Change Me Prayers, I want to thank my beloved sister Wendy for sending me this book, and I also want to thank my dear friend Lasha Mutual, who's a beautiful, fine artist, who introduced me to the author of this book, Tosha Silver. Years ago, she brought over her book, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Lead, and I just fell in love with Tosha Silver. And then a few years ago, my sister Wendy sent me this book, Change Me Prayers. So, whatever your belief system is, it matters not. I say to you, the invitation for this 10 days of lightness is an opportunity to create an antidote to whatever discomfort you're feeling, whatever distress that arises, whatever fear arises, whatever darkness arises, to build the circuitry for you to find a way to activate a feeling of lightness of being. And if this is connecting to the Divine Beloved, however you may call this, Source, Creator, God, if you don't have a belief in this, that's fine too. Hold it lightly. I'm simply sharing with you today how I really tune in to this source and supply. And I was drawn today to Tosha Silver's Change Me Prayers for our prayer. And this is her prayer for inviting the divine. And I lean into you because I want you to lean in and invite this into your experience, into your space of sanctuary today. Divine Beloved, change me into one who remembers to invite you into every aspect of my being, allowing perfect solutions to arise in the right time and way. Let me trust you and our oneness more every day. Change me, O Beloved, into one who feels so trusting of my connection and confidence in you that I can invite you with an open heart into any aspect of my life. Change me into one who can easily make prayers of invitation and love from my own heart's longing. Let me trust my own voice. Let me trust that you show me all the right actions at every moment. Let me know we are one and I am safe. That feeling of safety, of security, of belonging, of being able to rest in the dwelling of our own being is so important right now. And we are going to be moving into an exploration and a celebration of our second chakra today, the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is located in our lower abdomen, below the navel. And the Sanskrit name of the sacred chakra is the Svadhisthana. The Svadhisthana in Sanskrit, translating to English, is one's own dwelling. So this center of energy in our body is related to, it connects to emotion and pleasure, connection, It's associated with the emotional body. The color of the sacral chakra is orange. So I got out my beautiful pashmina scarf given to me by my friend Mitra Doherty, who brought it back from a trip to Italy. So thank you, beloved friend Mitra, for this beautiful pashmina that I wrap myself in with the color of the sacral chakra, which is orange. And the element of the sacral chakra is water. We are, as human beings, in our adult body, 80%, 75 to 80% water. More when we are a young being. So I'm taking a sip, blessing and thanking this element. And I invite you in this time of deep transformation to befriend this element of water. Make sure you're drinking lots of water in the day and hydrating. I know this is a very basic, simple thing, but we're coming back to remind ourselves of these very simple and yet profound tools, because dehydration is linked to fatigue and depression, and all of our organ systems, our entire electrical system, all of our respiratory system, our entire energy system is dependent on the flow of water. So the sacral chakra today we are focusing on. And I want to begin with a poem prayer that came to me a few years ago that I feel is really appropriate as a touch point for today, because so much of the sacral chakra, which as I said is related to the emotional body and pleasure, intimacy, and connection with self and others, when it is in balance and healthy, this energy system helps us to feel alive. It helps us to feel deeply creative and inspired and in tune, and in tune with our sensuality and our pleasure and our sexuality and our fecundity and all that we create, whether it's in the feminine, in the womb, or in the masculine, in creating life in the most intimate ways with one another. Or this is the center where all of our creative expression begins. And in this time of feeling the pain of the world, feeling so much of this uncertainty and overwhelm and exhaustion, the first place we really feel a disconnection is our root. We don't feel safe in the world. And our second chakra, we can feel a dimming of this inspiration. We can feel a lowering of our libido. We can feel a draining of this energy, of the aliveness, the vitality in our world, of feeling this great joy and pleasure. And it's almost like there is an elevation right now on the planet of, we've lost the tactile sense for people that have had to come home, and we can't hug each other and we can't go out. So it's so important right now to reconnect with this sense of tactile pleasure. And I would invite you, if you're home alone, there is such an easy way to begin with, just getting yourself some lovely massage oil and give yourself a foot massage. Begin to awaken again that sense of self-love and self-pleasure, and to do it with a sense of deep honoring. And so this poem that came to me this morning speaks to the shadow side of the sacral chakra, where we can feel and hold the scar tissue of guilt and shame. And this is in each one of us. We've all been wounded with traumas that have lodged in our body. And I love the phrase, the body keeps the score, because it's really held in the subconscious, this energy, the scar tissue of shame and guilt. And it's so much in the collective right now. You know, so many people are suffering. And those of us that are home and safe can feel an unconscious guilt for being safe, for being sequestered, for not being on the front lines. There is so much loss and pain in the collective right now that as a human body, so much of the sacral chakra, fear and shame and guilt and that wound is being activated. So to balance and heal this is to consciously hold an activation, an allowing, an expression, an amplifying of love in the deepest sense of what love is, of the great mother love way, which is an absolution of that trauma of shame and guilt, however it has been activated in us, personally, planetarily, to come into a deep space of holding that pain, that shame, that guilt, to allow love to enter in and to bring the fullness of the absolution. And I think it's perfect for this weekend because it is activating the resurrection light codes to look at what we as humanity have been crucified by our own minds, by the pain and the shame and the trauma of others who have harmed us. And what do we do with this as humans who have all been wounded and traumatized? So on this weekend, this Easter weekend, for those that perhaps resonate with this as a Christian tradition, but beyond that, the metaphor of the resurrection, we come into a space of deep, deep forgiveness, of deep allowing of whatever is arising, because we need to allow it to arise in us. We need to come closer to it, whatever that is. So it's a paradox that right now we are in isolation, in lockdown, being asked to distance from one another. That in that paradox of being separated, we have the opportunity to create a profound experience of unity consciousness, because we are given the opportunity to touch and taste this deep wound within each one of us, and perhaps allow it to arise in us and not be distracted from it, not to run away from it, because we are in this time of great quiet, of the full stop. So this poem that came to me is Come Closer. Come closer, says this love. I feel your pain. Rest here a while and give me your shame. Take off your garments of guilt and regret, your shoes soaked with fear that burn with each step. You have wandered through life with these masks and defenses, blind and burdened, weary and senseless, while under your skin in this skeleton cage, your heart bird beats wildly. A symphony plays. Music that drenches your cells with perfume. A scent that awakens your soul, and you swoon. Come, dance, says this love. I will vanquish your fear. Your garment of pain will dissolve with these tears. Sweet, salty surrender. In this sea we will drown, naked and numinous. Down and down, down into the void, where darkness gives birth. We tenderly tuck seeds of light in the earth. The ego cajoles, come back from the edge. It's not safe. You'll be broken. You'll die on this ledge. The soul loves the edge, begs we summon our wings. Love says, come closer. Together we'll sing. We've got to crack open to be light enough to fly. Light as a feather, brave enough to die. And as we die, we are birthed anew, reeking with joy, a bliss perfume. I've got you, says this love. Stop trying so hard. I'm waiting right here at the door of your heart. In love's embrace, all fear melts away. Stillness arises. We know why we came. To deliver our song, each note a love letter. Come closer, says this love. It only gets better. And so, I have with me today 2 crystal singing bowls. One that I'm playing right now is the sacral, the bowl in the note of D. So we ring and emanate these tones, activating and opening to a feeling of safety, spaciousness, security in our sacral chakra. That Svadhisthana, which in Sanskrit means a place of one's own dwelling. So just allow the tone of the sacral bowl to perhaps loosen any part of you that has held the scar tissue of shame or guilt, this pain of separation. And you need not attach a story to it. Just allow yourself to feel what is arising. Allow the light to enter in. And we deepen our breath. I ask you and invite you to place your hands on your belly, right at that place below your navel. And begin to breathe deeply into that belly space. You may want to just let a sigh escape your lips. Breathing deeply. And with your hands on your belly, allowing a warmth to come into that space of connection, that watery womb space. Allowing any sadness, any tension, any tightness to melt away. Breathing into that space that perhaps you have felt in these days and weeks where the darkness has gathered all around us. We have felt a collective up-leveling of an insecurity, the opposite of the joy of inspiration, perhaps a dimming of our light. We've lost the contact with our own pleasure and awakened creativity and flow and flexibility, the theme of today. So breathing into this space, allowing yourself to just be right now with whatever is arising. Sitting up a little straighter to allow the energy to course up and down your spine. And engaging what is called in yoga the Mula Bandha, flexing and tightening the Bunda lock, which are the muscles of the perineum, that if you were controlling the flow of urine, you would squeeze. Squeeze that now. Take a deep breath in up your spine. Exhale down into the roots of the earth. Squeeze this Bunda lock again in the perineum. And breathe in all the way up your spine, flooding your brain with light, allowing the cave of Brahma within the center of the head to fill with the light that you are bringing up through this breath. Again, breathing Bunda lock. Deepening the breath. This is a Kundalini yoga breathing technique. Tightening the Bunda lock. Breathing up the spine. Allowing yourself to relax in this now moment and activating your breath. Just take a few more breaths. Activating this lock in the base of your spine at the perineum. Imagining the breath flooding up into the brain, lighting up, allowing the pineal gland to be flooded with light, allowing all of the reptilian fear centers that have locked down in this time of fear, in this time of viral fear, allowing yourself to breathe into the centers of higher reasoning, opening the top of your head, connecting into the heavens above, into the cosmic realms, connecting to your higher self, activating this flow of energy, lighting up, and connecting the primal, lower states of the body that have been locked in fear, and allowing this light energy to activate a higher sense, an awakened sense, a connection to the realms above. Through our sacral chakra, the ultimate act of creativity, the center where we give birth, where we connect and create through the sexual centers, through our creativity. Breathing up through the top of your head and connecting to the higher realms, into the cosmic realms, into the source of all being. As above, so below, connecting, illuminating, acknowledging that as we breathe in this space and time called now, we move beyond third dimensional time-space into multi-dimensional non-linearity, into the space where all answers reside. And we draw down, at this time, we draw down the light, we draw down the call from the divine self. That how fascinating is it that any outward distractions, that when we go into this space, we draw down from the heavens above our divine intelligence that is always with us, that is inviting us to connect to the higher realms, to our higher self. That as we feel our physical centers in our lower body, in our root chakra, our sacral chakra, in our solar plexus chakra, the center of our personal power. That as we connect through this breath, up and above, connecting to our higher self, we contact this space to turn off. And when I enter this space, I need to go into do not disturb mode. So I am just using everything that arises. This dear friend that was deeply wanting to contact with me at this moment. She is. At this time, we must have humor for all that is arising, and knowing that we are both this physical being appearing in this body on earth, and we are also this spiritual being that has come here to learn, and to learn so deeply from our lessons, from our frailty, from the ways that we trip and we fall and we rise again. So understanding that as we learn to breathe and access through this, that we are undeterred by whatever may come to us in the moment. And that as we activate the Bunda lock in our perineum, this is such a powerful, primal source of energy that as we contract, what we are doing is drawing focus. And as we contract that energy center, just as we do, we are bringing focus, bringing awareness. And as we lock that energy, we are like a laser drawing our energy there, drawing all the way up through our body as we breathe into our higher centers, breathe into the brain and open above into our primal, illumined self. We're literally opening the channel wide to draw in all the answers that we need, to draw in all the elixirs of our higher self. And we do this as we do through this breath. And as we do any practice of deeper breathing, we move from the sympathetic nervous system, we move from fight or flight, which we are so prone to at this time with all of the messagings to be on high alert for the next bad news, the next narrative of losing control, of the fear that is outside of us right now, that we are being called to draw deeply from within and to build this resourcefulness of radiance and resilience. So one more practice of breath that is very good for calming that fight or flight and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. This is a balancing of the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And we can do this, actually I was going to do alternate nostril breathing, but instead I'm going to do a very simple practice of what's called the square breath. And you can do this anytime you're feeling anxious, anytime you feel drawn off your center, anytime you're feeling overwhelmed. It's a very, very simple practice of deepening the breath and bringing conscious awareness into allowing yourself to really deeply drop into that second chakra, that when we are in balance and in power and fully illuminated in that power center, the mantra would be, I am safe, I am secure, I am connected, I'm connected to the earth, I am connected to my higher power. There is nothing that can touch me in this space of deep inner dwelling with the divine and the human together. Impenetrable safety, security. So to access this anytime, you can be on a walk, you can be in meditation, you can be whatever you are doing. And I'm going to invite you to place your hands on that lower belly again to really contact that space of connection, that watery womb space where all of our emotional body dwells and begins and is initiated. So just begin a deep, calming breath. coming into that space. And so we'll begin with 4, a count of 4. You can go to 5 or 6 if you want to amplify this practice, but we're going to begin with a simple 4. So you're imagining breathing around a box. Breathing into 4, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and exhale on 4, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, retain, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and retain, 2, 3, 4. With this practice, I like to say retain the breath as opposed to hold it, because it's really while you are pausing between the inhale and the exhale and retaining that breath. It's not a hold as much as it is circulating this breath in the pause within you. And there is so much power in becoming conscious of your breath, because when we are in fight and flight mode, when we're in fear, when we're in anxiety, we unconsciously hold our breath and breathe from a very shallow place, and we're not breathing deeply into the base of the lungs. And so we naturally just then begin, our body feels anxious, our stomach starts to tighten, our digestion slows, every part of our energy body and our circulatory system, our respiration is affected in a negative way. So perhaps the biggest takeaway for flow and flexibility for you today is the most potent tool you have to alter your emotional, mental state and physical state is your breath. It is so simple, and in that way, because it is so simple, sometimes we either forget or we take it for granted. So to do this breathing, even if it's just a deep belly breath where you're breathing in and focusing on that breath and the belly and accessing, maybe it's just breathing in on all is well and breathing out on all will be well, but really allowing that breath to deepen and the exhale to be long and slow, even longer than the inhale. And when you do that square breathing, simply allowing yourself to stop whatever it is you're doing. If you're feeling anxious, scared, afraid, moving into overwhelm, it is a powerful way to alter your physiology and bring you into the parasympathetic nervous system, but it's also a powerful way if your thoughts are running out of control and one fear thought is leading to another. You can stop this train of negative thinking in its tracks if you simply just hold lightly the moment and begin to do this deep breathing. Do this beautiful deep breathing practice. So in the energy systems, the center that we're focusing on today, the second chakra, the sound, the root bija sound for the second chakra is Vam. Vam. So I want to do a sound meditation right now where we can together breathe into this center of, for those that are just coming on now, we are focusing today on flow, flexibility, and freedom. And finding ourselves a pivot from any time we're feeling fearful or stressed or anxious to activating a deep sense of rooted calm, activating our emotional body, connecting to this second chakra, the center of the sacral chakra, which the Sanskrit name Svadhisthana literally translates own dwelling. So what we are activating and creating today is a sanctuary within yourself that you can come back to when the world has gotten too wild, when the news of the day is overwhelming you or bringing you great mental stress, your body feels fatigued, to come back to this place of your own dwelling. And in the teachings of Nada Yoga, which is the yoga of sound, actually the nada is the great void that is the great silence, that place of paradox that contains all sound and the great nothingness, that primordial place where all life and all creation is birthed, where all death and birth and rebirth are in this filled plenum, this great void. So if you can imagine this sound of Vam in Nada Yoga, what we are doing beyond the mind, beyond a story, beyond needing to know, these seed bija mantras in Nada Yoga have been created as sonic codes. So it's just like an HTML code. Anybody who creates program, anybody who knows the science of what we have as a symbol, as a code, activates the very electricity, the very program that we wish to create with this. So what we are activating with this code, this sonic sigil of Vam, is a balancing of the shadow in the sacral chakra, which we talked about today, where every human being has the dark and the light. Every human being in every one of our energy centers has the trauma and the light of the balance of the bliss. So in the sacral chakra, we've been talking today about the fact that when we are out of balance and when we feel dull and uninspired and we have lost the connection to this pleasure center, we have lost our inspiration, we've lost our libido, we've lost our connection to all that makes us, as my beloved mentor and teacher, Barbara Marks Hubbard, who actually left this world a year ago yesterday. She was one of the greatest teachers to me of passion and owning your soul purpose, to come into this world, that whatever you feel you're here to share, to fully step into it. And she called that vocational arousal. Barbara always said that, yes, we have, women have wombs, men, we come together to birth something, to create a child in the physical. And this is beautiful and wonderful, and it's an amazing part of our human experience. And she said, when she was writing about this, she was over 50, and she said, I'm not in menopause. I am in regenopause. And look up the work of Barbara Marks Hubbard. It was one of the most exquisite and eloquent and vibrant pioneers in the conscious evolution movement. So Barbara, her teaching of vocational arousal was, after I was no longer in a place where I could birth children, I became freed from all of the energy that took raising children. She had 5 children. She said, I was freed from the daily round of needing to care for these children, but I still had all of this energy that I wanted to birth and create and bring to the world. So she said, I'm not in menopause. I am in regenopause. She contacted all of this amazing energy, this primordial energy that when we were breathing from that Bundalak up and bringing the energy into our brain and lighting up the pineal and above into the cosmic energies where we were activating this amazing connection, Barbara's teachings were about this vocational arousal, this place where we have an idea and we meant to create on our own. She said, this vocational arousal is that I have a piece, you have a piece. And when we come together, we birth something so much grander than we could have on our own. And when we come together in circle, as we are virtually today, each one of us is needed for this transformation of humanity that's happening right now. Each one of us is being called to express what it is we feel within us that is so alive, so awake in us. And in so many ways, the pain and the anguish, the fear that is so active in the world right now, it's really waking us up even more. We don't feel a sense right now at all like we have time to waste. I mean, there is this urgency that we are here together to awaken for the survival of the human species so that we may thrive together. So I feel like Barbara's teaching has come in today because it's so perfect for the second chakra, for this sacral chakra of knowing that each one of us has a purpose. And that as we find each other through synchronicity, we have an idea and we're drawn to another who has a piece that can help us bring this idea to life. So coming back to the seed bija mantra. The seed bija mantra, today we will be coming into a close of this circle of the 10 days of lightness on the sound of Vam, which, as I was saying, that each one of our energy centers in Nada Yoga has a sound associated with it, Lam in the root chakra. Today we are focusing on this second sacral chakra. So as we begin to make this sound together, if you wish to just simply listen and drink in the sound, that's perfectly fine, however you want to experience this. And I invite you to make the sound, allow the sound to sing you. And as I said, just as this is a code, a sonic frequency, to activate the light and the harmony and the balance in the sacral chakra, to free and to bring the flexibility and the flow into your sacral chakra, to activate passion, energy, and inspiration, and safety, and to vanquish and bring absolution to anywhere that you have held the pain of shame, of guilt. And be gentle with yourself, because this is a beginning practice. If you've been doing this work for a long time, you know that we begin by touching the edge of our pain. And if we allow it to arise gently and simply hold it, that is how we release it. We feel to reveal what is arising to be healed. And if something arises in this practice, or if you wish to have a bit of further guidance, please feel free to contact me, either private message me on Facebook, or I will put my email address as well, because these are potent, intense times of transformation. And we are not meant to navigate this alone. If you hit a patch that's tricky, reach out. I'm offering this invitation because we are meant to rise together in these times. So, the sound of Vam, and I want to give thanks to the beautiful sound healer Sian O'Gorman, who created this track. And so, and it's so funny, of course, I was on Bluetooth and it went off. So I will just reconnect. And isn't that what this time is about right now? One moment to the next, we have our connection and we can feel it so strongly. And then we find that our internet connection isn't so, well, it's searching. I'm finding so much humor and humility today. I'm going to just go to my bows right here. Come on, find it. Anyways, it's not finding it. Well, you know what I'm going to do is just going to play it from my phone and hold it close, because the theme today was come closer. So I'm just going to play it here from my phone, And I'm going to come in closer, and we will close today. Okay, so it's not coming online, and that's fine too. I love that what I'm being shown today is the perfection of knowing that when one way doesn't work, there are other ways. So I have my Shruti box with me here. So the sound of Vam. We're going to close our circle today with the sound of Vam. And when the electrical units fail us, thank goodness for an acoustic instrument. I'm just playing my Shruti box, which is an instrument from India that creates a drone with overtones. So, when one way fails, we find another. And I leave you today to draw within to the sound of Vam. Come even closer. Find your note within this note. It could be higher, it could be lower. And all you need do is be open to the sounding of the seed bija mantra Vam. Focusing on your pelvic bowl, on the sacral chakra 2 inches below your navel. Activating safety, security. A safe home for you to dwell in and to create. Feeling the joy of the connection, to being inspired, to be you, to find pleasure in simple ways today. However this may arise for you, however you may create this. And as I said before, to find pleasure in tactile touch, to find freedom and flexibility in deepening your breath, bringing awareness. It is so poignant at this moment that we on the planet are experiencing a virus that attacks this center, our lungs, our breathing apparatus, the breath of life, probably the most primordial space of fear, to lose our breath. And in Eastern traditions, the lungs are the seat of grief and worry. Because when we lose contact with that flow, that flexibility, listen to my voice as I say it, the fear arises, the freedom to breathe. So let's breathe on this sound of Vam for ourselves, for creating greater circuitry for ourselves, to have higher immunity, to release toxins, because as we breathe more deeply, we release toxins through the body. Let's breathe for anyone who is having trouble breathing right now. And let's bring that seed bija mantra of Vam as a sonic code to activate the lungs of the planet on Mother Earth, for she is breathing more easily now, right now. With fewer planes and cars on the roads, Mother Earth's lungs are breathing a sigh of relief. And in this paradox, as humans of the earth are finding this compromising illness contacting the lungs. Let us breathe in with gratitude to the greater oxygenation of Mother Earth, and let's draw that in for those who are having trouble breathing, and also to activate within ourselves this deeper breath of love, connecting between our lungs and this sacral chakra, where we feel at home, empowered and safe in the dwelling of our own being. Feel the compassion arising in you as you feel a sound. This seed, bija mantra, vam, circulating through every cell of your body. Imagining this color of orange, the element of water, infusing your whole body with passion, with power, with safety, security, serenity. For you, me, and all our relations on the planet at this time. Take a few moments today to breathe into your belly. Give thanks for this gift of life. And if you wish to sound Vam, allow it to be medicine for you. I wish you great blessings this day. Be well, be wise. You are wondrous indeed. I thank you for joining me. Breathe. Allow your breath to bring you home, into this dwelling, into this beautiful dwelling. One's own dwelling, this infinite divine place of sanctuary that you carry within you at all times. Thank you. Until we meet again, be well.